When you first arrive at the house, it's important that you have all of the students' information in a locked box. Everything you need will be in the locked box. The combination for that locked box is 8, 5, 3. And you will pull out the needed material. And you will have the child's notebook. It is very important that you always record and set up your recorder. But because multiple children are going to be using the headset, please make sure that you have wiped off the child's mic before each child uses it. That way we'll make sure that it's always clean. You're going to greet your child. Hello, Miss Susie. How are you today?
How are you?
I am really excited that you want to be a part of our study. After you've wiped off the mic, then you're going to put in the child's ID, the date, say the date that you're doing the recording, and the session. This is participant 0059. It is March 29th, 2015, and this is our first baseline session. So, Miss Susie, I'm just going to put these around your neck. You do not need to wear them on your head, but this will go ahead and record that. Before you begin baseline, it's very important before you arrive at the child's house that you always make sure your cards are in the order presented in your protocol. So this child will be getting words given first, and so I'm going to make sure that my word cards are in the order presented on her list. The next item that she'll be getting is letter sound. So going through my manual, I will make sure that the letters are in the same order as they are on my protocol checklist. The next measurement would be word spelling. Again, I'm going to make sure the child's words are in the correct order listed on the protocol. And the same would be true for letter name. These will be presented in different orders each time you meet the child. And it's very important that you always have your protocols in the right order. We are going to be working together to learn a pretend language from another planet, Rasaf. The Rasaf language has many of the same sounds as English, but the letters look very differently. We're going to learn the Rasaf letters and sounds and some Rasaf words. But before we begin to learn about the Rasaf language, I want to know what you know about the Rasaf words. And I would like you to read some words as I turn the cards over one by one. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Before you begin, it's very important that you mark your script as you say it so that you have fulfilled the fidelity. When you are ready, please turn and make sure that you have filled out the top of your form that has the date, the year, the session number, and the child's ID, which was 0059, and your instructor ID as well. So to make sure that the top is always filled out. Okay, let's read some Rasaf words. If you need, read the word silently to yourself so that when you read the word out loud, all the sounds are blended together. Are you ready?
Yes.
And go.
Crow.
Ready? Go.
Or.
Ready? Go.
Core.
Go.
Roo.
Go.
Crew.
You can see as I'm presenting the cards, I put them down so that she won't see the next card. When I bring it up, I simultaneously say go so that we may record response time. In the sheet, I am writing down phonetically what our participant has said. Following along on your protocol, the next measurement for baseline is going to be letter sound production. right order. So you are going to have your cards ready, and you're going to get ready to say the next series of instructions. We are going to be working together to learn a pretend language from another planet, like we said, called Rasaf. But I need to know what you know about the Rasaf language. It has many of the same sounds as English, but the letters look very differently. So before we begin to learn about the language, I want to know what you know about Rasaf. I'm going to show you some of the Rasaf letters, and I would like you to tell me the sounds of the letters as I turn the cards over one by one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, make sure that your protocol is filled out at the top. Okay, remember you're giving me the sounds of the letters. Ready, go.
A.
It is important to place off the correct sounds to the right and incorrect sounds to the left. Ready, go.
O.
You will note that the sound for each letter is written phonetically on the back of each card. Ready, go.
T.
Ready, go.
W.
On your sheet, you will be recording not only what the child says phonetically, either in IPA or in the coding that we have discussed in our training, and to make sure you write the score for each sound. The next activity we're going to do is spelling. And the spelling activity requires some instruction before giving the spelling activity. So you will be following your script again and say, we are going to be working together, as we have said, to learn another language from another planet called Rasaf. The Rasaf language has many of the same sounds as English, but as we said, the letters look very differently. We're going to learn about the letters and sounds and some Rasaf words. But before we begin, now I want to know what you know about spelling Rasaf words. So I'd like you to spell some. But we're going to use a special board to spell with Rasaf letters. But before I show you that, I want to show you how to use the board using an English word called pit, using the English word pit. So randomly you'll be placing letters with magnetic strips on the board, and you will use the following instruction to teach the child how to use our spelling matrix. Okay. I will hold when I want you to spell a Rasaf word, I want you to look at me, and I will hold a card to my chin to prompt you to look at me. Then I will give you the spelling word. We will practice together with the word pit. So, ready? Please look at me and repeat the word pit.
Pit.
Now, we would select the letters that spell the word pit. So, P, I, T would spell pit. Now, I want you to practice with the English word it. Repeat it.
It.
Use your board to spell it. Perfect. I think we're ready to spell some Rasaf words. So I'm going to replace that with our Rasaf letters. The bottom dot always goes on the bottom left. So that would not be the correct way to place the letter. It would be to make sure that it always goes on the bottom left. And you will be placing these in any random order. Then you will turn to your protocol sheet. Make sure that everything is filled out at the top with the child's ID and your ID as well. The spelling protocol sheet is a bit different in that every single letter that's available for that treatment is listed. As the child places the card, you will mark in the top left the order in which the child places the card. So we will begin. Are you ready for your first Rasaf word?
Yes.
Please look at me and repeat. Re.
Re.
Would you please find the letters that might spell re? She placed this symbol first, so I put a 1 on the top left. She placed this symbol second, so I put a 2 on the top left of that letter, and then I phonetically wrote what the child said. Are you ready for the next Rasaf word?
Yes.
Ready? Look at me and say Keb.
Keb.
Would you place the letters for Keb? Could you put those back for me, however you would like? It is again important to put incorrect answers to the left and correct answers to the right. Alrighty. In spelling, the child won't always read the word back, so there will be times that you do not phonetically write what the child has said, and that's okay as long as you provide a score. The next baseline measure for this child is letter name production. Letter name production will be using the same cards as letter name production. Letter sound production will be using the same cards as letter name production. Again, though, you do want to make sure that you have them following your protocol in the right order. And it is best to fill out the top sheet before you begin your session with the child. Last baseline measure for Miss Susie is going to be letter name production. Letter name production has the same letters, same card format as letter sound production. And again, you want to make sure that you have your letters in the order that you have listed on your protocol, and it is best to have everything filled out before you begin your session. It will make it a lot easier. Again, as you go along, the children will not need such a lengthy instruction at the beginning of each protocol. So because this is her 4th activity in baseline, I'm going to default down to the 2nd session of instructions, and I'm just going to say to her, I would like you to tell me the names of some Rasaf letters. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ready and go.
Co.
Go.
E.
Ready. Go.
Ta.
Ready. Go.
Wo.
Ready. Go.
Za.
For your support, the letter name and sound is always listed on the back of the card. It is also listed on your protocol. So as you're flipping the card, you may not be able to see the back of the card because it's in the front of your pile. Therefore, default to looking at your protocol so you'll know if the child said the letter name correctly. We are now done with our first baseline measure. Each child will continue to get baseline measures following the protocol established for What Works Clearinghouse Single Case Design, and we will cover that in more detail. So now we're going to begin instruction on how to begin the first session of treatment. Everything is randomized in terms of presentation. This young student's first presentation was to get the multisensory letters and sounds and spelling and word reading before the structured. But that will not be the case for every child, and each session of baseline will be different. Sometimes multisensory will be first and sometimes structured. It's very important that you follow the protocols we've established, and they will all be in your booklet for you. So we have just finished baseline for multisensory. Now we're going to give the assessments for structured. So it's important that you pick up all of the activities associated with the previous treatment, and you're going to go ahead and put them back in the front in the folders that we have provided so that you do not lose them. It's very important because frequently you will be giving the same child 2 lessons in a row or 2 baseline measures in a row, and we do not want to lose any of our materials because you may not have time to come into the office to get replenish what has been lost. So it's really important that as you put it in, that you fold it back and make sure the top hole punch is even with the second hole punch to prevent any loss from falling out. So now you are going to be getting out your measures for structured. The card size are different for your convenience so that you will know the smaller size cards are always for multisensory, the larger cards are always for structured. And you'll just turn back to your measurement, and we are now going to start our baseline measurements in structured. Now that we have finished the first baseline measure on the first treatment, you will begin your baseline measure on the next treatment. It is important to remember that each time you go out for baseline or treatment or follow-up, the order of presentation for each treatment may change. Sometimes multisensory will be first, sometimes structured will. It's very important that you follow the protocol established in your 3-ring binder and follow the sessions as they're marked. We finished multisensory because multisensory is the smaller cards. For your convenience, the cards have differentiation by size. The structure will always be larger. In this child's first baseline measure, her word reading is going to be presented again. First, as it was in multisensory, but that's just how the randomization came about. So just make sure that you always have your cards in the right order and that you follow your protocol sheet. Because this is the second presentation, she is somewhat familiar with our procedures. However, the structured language has a different name, and that's saraf. So I am going to read the full script on her first presentation of baseline. Now that we finished the Rasaf language, we're going to be working also on another language called saraf. And we're going to be working together to learn this pretend language saraf. The saraf language has many of the same sounds as English, but again, the letters are very different. We're going to learn the saraf letters and sounds. But before we begin to learn about saraf, I want to know what you might know about saraf. So I'm going to show you some of the saraf words and would like you to read these words as I turn them over one by one. Are you ready?
Yes.
And then you would begin your procedures. But because she now knows we're in saraf, you can default to the second script and just say, I would like you to tell me the sounds of the saraf letters, and then begin your procedures. So after she's well versed in what protocol to follow, you do not have to read the whole script. And now we are going to show you what it's like to actually begin an intervention. After you have finished baseline and are beginning to begin treatment, there will be several things that you must always have in your lockbox with you. For a multisensory, you're going to want your container of sand, your little carpet square. Make sure you have your mirror, your 3D forms that you will need, and for every session, both multisensory and structured, you will want your wipe-off board and marker, and a little eraser. For the structured language, you will want extra letter cards that do not have markings on the back. These will all be provided for you, but it will be your responsibility, per the protocol that's listed in the front of your manual, to follow and set up your cards for each session, being that you may very well present that lesson to that child 2 or 3 times in a row before passing your manual back to me so that I can get it to the next interventionist. The very first session, again, you're going to always make sure that the mic is cleaned off for the child, and you're going to say the date, the child's ID, and the session. So, this is participant 230059. It is April 1st, 2015, and this is the first day of treatment. And again, you will put it around the child's neck. Thank you very much. And it's best to get your things out and ready as you begin session. Know which treatment you're going to have first. So you want to pull out your cards, and you will want to pull out the spelling letters for the matrix so that you will be prepared and will not have to go into your bags during each treatment. The very first lesson looks a little bit differently than the other lessons because it starts with new learning. So we will go ahead and just begin. At the front of each lesson, it tells you to please stick to the script. It's very important that there be even presentation of letters and sounds throughout each lesson. And you will be recording if you need to repeat, which is okay, but I need you to record each time you repeat so that I can be assured that between the structure and the multisensory, each child got an even number of presentations. Again, as you read your lesson, please highlight so that we can make sure we're measuring fidelity. And because it is the child's first lesson, she's going to be starting with new learning. We are going to learn 2 new Rasaf letters and their sounds. I would like you to repeat each word I say as you look in your mirror. Listen carefully to the words so that you can tell me the sound that is the same in each word. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ought. Look in your mirror and repeat.
Ought.
Roz.
Roz.
What sound was the same in each of those words?
Ah.
Very good. That was the ah sound. And you would write that on your lesson sheet. Provides a place to show that that child got it correctly. Following your lesson format, you're going to say, this letter is och. It makes the ah sound. Please look in your mirror and repeat with me. Ready? The name of this letter is och.
The name of this letter is och.
And it makes the ah sound.
And it makes the ah sound.
I'm going to show you how to write this letter. Please watch me write the letter as I explain each step. Provided in your lesson plan is an illustration of what to say and how to write this letter. We are going to start on the left, slant up, go right, stop, go up, turn back down, turn right and stop, turn left, turn up and stop. Let's stand up together and skywrite this letter. You're going to want to make sure that the letter you just written is in full view of the child. As you stand up together, you're going to stand beside the child or slightly behind the child and say, we're going to point out our writing arm very strongly and point our 2 fingers. And I'm going to help you as we do this. And while we write the letter, we are going to say the name. Are you ready? Now let's write the letter and name it. Ready? Ah, ch. Beautiful job. Let's go ahead and have a seat. Now I want you to write over the letter while you make the sound. Ah. Ready? Begin.
Ah.
Now I'd like you to look at the card and name och and give the ah sound.
Och. Ah.
And again, you would write that correctly in the child's binder. If the child was unable to respond with och and ah, you would say, as it is shown in your binder, that was a nice try, but the correct response is och, ah, and then you would make a mark in your binder for a repetition. Now we're going to learn another Rasaf letter. Please look in your mirror and repeat each word. Are you ready?
Yes.
Et,
Tob.
tob. What sound was the same in each of the words?
T.
Beautifully done. And then again, mark in your book. The name of this letter is Ush, and it makes the T sound. Please look in your mirror and repeat after me. The name of this letter is Ush,
The name of this letter is Ush,
and it makes the T sound.
and it makes the T sound.
I'm going to show you how to write this letter. Please watch me write it as I name each step. Start at the top left, curve up to the right, turn down, and curve to the left. Now let's skywrite this letter while we say the name of the letter. So ready? And I'm going to stand behind you and we're going to do big strong movements. Ready? And we're going to say the name. Ready? Ush. Beautifully done. So please look at the card. Oh, please write over the letter while you say the sound T. T. Look at the card and name Ush and give the sound T.
Ush. T.
Let's go ahead and trace over the letter and give the letter's name Ush and T.
Ush. T.
Very nice. Let's practice reading some Rasaf words. I'm going to show you some words containing letters and sounds we have practiced. I would like you to read the words by tapping out the sounds. I will help you with the first word. Let me show you a fun way to tap out the sounds. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. So, ready? Let's get our finger under. Do you remember the sound that makes? Ready? Ah, t. And scoop under it, ot, and read. So you actually will place this on the table in front of the child and tap together. Ah, t. Then with your fingers, scoop and read. Ot. Beautifully done. Now I'm going to show it to you again, and I would like you to read this word for me. What is that word?
Ot.
And you would record it on your paper. If the child segments the word, such as ah, t, ot, and then blends it, please record it with slash marks, as we will cover briefly in a minute on your form so that we know the child segmented. I'm going to give you another word. Please tap out the word first, and then I would like you to blend it together for me.
T. Ah. Ta.
Very well done. Let's practice our Rasaf letters and sounds. So what I would like you to do is you are going to select the correct letter. When you find the correct, I'm going to give you a sound. Now we're moving into spelling. And there are two spelling activities. There's a phoneme spelling where you will give the child each phoneme sound and they will select the correct graphing from the matrix and bring it to the arrow to demonstrate they have made an association with the phoneme and the graphing. Then we will move on to spelling the word Rasaf, the Rasaf or saraf letters using our spelling matrix. So it's important you have your letters ready and your phoneme cards ready that are just isolated sounds as well as the spelling word phoneme cards. And your phoneme cards will always be green. So just make sure you in some random order place these. You do not want to always place them in the same order each time. So if you would like to shuffle after each presentation, after each session you're done with the child, that would be fine. Following your script, you're going to say, let's practice our Rasaf letters and sounds. Please select the correct letter. When you find the correct letter, please bring it to the arrow. And I would like you to then name the letter while you trace over it. So first, let's repeat the sound I give you. Please have your mirror ready. Ready? Look at me. Ah. Look in your mirror.
Ah.
Can you select what letter makes the ah sound? And then you will mark that if the child got it correctly. If the child should need a repetition, would you please repeat that sound or didn't hear you? You may repeat it, but please make a slash mark in the appropriate column so that I know that it was repeated for the child. Ready? We're going to do another sound. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's make sure we put this one back. Ready? Look at me and repeat t as you look in your mirror. T. Now would you pull the letter down that makes the t sound? That was a nice try, but the t sound is this letter. So if the child should respond incorrectly, provide the correct response and mark a slash mark in the appropriate column since you have to repeat it for the child. But do not have the child repeat or practice the correct response. Let's spell some Rasaf words. I'm going to say some words containing letters and sounds that we have practiced. I will help you spell words by giving you steps to follow. The steps are called Save Our Spelling, and we have a template for that. However, because this is the child's first time in using Save Our Spelling, we will actually put our phoneme up off to the side, and we're going to present the child with an English word to spell so that they will know how to use the spelling matrix. Though they've used it in assessments, in baseline, they have not used it following the Save Our Spelling procedures. Alrighty. As we move on to word spelling, the child has not practiced our Save Our Spelling format. So we're going to actually have the child practice using the word cat for multisensory and dog for structure. So you will follow your word spelling instruction script. Let's spell Rasaf words. I'm going to say some words containing letters and sounds we have practiced. I will help you spell words by giving you steps to follow. The steps are called Save Our Spelling or SOS. But I'm going to show you how to use the Save Our Spelling SOS steps using the word cat. So please look at me and get your mirror ready. And looking at our first step, you are going to look and listen. Cat. Now I would like you to echo and sound out by tapping out those sounds. Ready? K, at. Now I would like you to name the letters and pull them down. Or name the letter. I would like you to name the letters for cat. What letters would you use?
C-A-T.
Would you find C-A-T and name them as you pull them down?
C-A-T.
And then I would like you to take your finger and scoop under and read that word.
Cat.
Excellent job. We are going to use those SOS procedures with our Rasaf words. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
The first word is, look at me, and I want you to look and listen. Ought. Echo and sound out while you tap.
Ought.
Can you name those letters? What's the name of those letters?
Och and ush.
Excellent job. This is a very bright young lady. Please pull those letters down and name them.
Och, ush.
And you are recording that on your sheet. If the child is unable to name them, you will give them the names in both cases, when they tap out and when they pull the letters down. But you will make sure you record that in your repetition in your lesson plan. Wonderful job. Let's put those back and ready for the next word. And you would proceed giving the child the next word. Now that we have finished our lesson, it's time to do our assessments. Again, letter name, letter sound, word reading, and spelling are randomized after each treatment. And you must follow in your binder what is first. It happens that letter name production is first after this very first treatment. So I'm going to make sure I put away what I have used in my treatment, and I'm going to get out my assessment words. The assessment words are easy to tell the difference between the treatment because they will be a full deck of each letter name, sound, and spelling. As you proceed along, there will be some distinctions. It will be your job to make sure that you add each letter that's being taught for that session before the session begins from the stack that I provide you in your binder. But now I'm going to pull out my cards for her assessments, which I have already made sure were in the correct order. You have finished a treatment. You are ready to do assessments. Assessments will be the same as they are in baseline: letter name, letter sound, word reading, and spelling. However, just as in baseline, they will be randomized. And the measures within each will be randomized as well. So you will never be presenting the same letters in the same order or the same words. So it happens that letter name production is the first assessment after the multisensory intervention we just did. It's very important because in multisensory and structured, the letter name production establishes whether the child will move on to the next session and learn 2 new graphemes. If the child is unable to name that session's new graphemes 2 times, they will just repeat the lesson that was just presented. So, it is very important that you put incorrect responses to the left and correct responses to the right, because you will be shuffling the correct responses and presenting them again. And that's how we will find out if the child presented or named those letters correctly. Again, it's very important, since we are timing this, to present a card, put down the rest of the cards so they cannot see the next card, and that you simultaneously say go when you're ready. And because this child has been through baseline, we can just simply read the instructions at the top of the protocol. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
I would like you to tell me the name of some Rasaf letters. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And go.
Ach.
Ready? Go.
Ta.
Ready? Go.
Su.
Ready? Go.
Ush.
Ready? Go.
To.
Ready? Go.
Ko.
You are doing awesome. Ready? Go.
Z.
Ready? Go.
L.
Ready? Go.
Su.
The child did not name it the graphemes, either of them, correctly. So we do not have to present the cards because we have none to present. You do have protocol for the second presentation, so you will just simply write NA, make sure the top is filled out on all of them so that we know that there was none to present. And you would go on and continue to do the other protocol measures. This happens to be spelling is next, and you would follow the same procedures that you followed in baseline. You will be doing very similar activities with structured, except the children will not be using multisensory input. For example, we did skywriting in multisensory. Children will not be doing that. They will be just writing with their finger on a desktop or over the whiteboard. They won't be doing the naming and tracing as we have done in multisensory. If a child does utilize multisensory in a structured, you are simply to say, oh, in saraf, they do not do that. So let's say that we're in the structured and a child utilizes some multisensory input. I'm going to show you how you make sure the child does not do that. So we have just presented the letter pa, and we have learned that this letter makes the p sound. So what we would be doing is we're going to say here, listen carefully to some words that I am going to give you, and I'd like you to tell me the sound that is the same in all of them. Ready? Pa,
Pa.
pith.
Pith.
What sound was the same in all of those words? Awesome, you will write that on your board. All right, now I want you to look at the card one more time. So if the child does utilize multisensory, I have a space on your sheet where you will mark the number of times that they implemented multisensory with a slash. But remember, if they do utilize multisensory in a nice way, it's important to tell them that in saraf, they don't do that. And you can expand upon the first time and say, actually in saraf, they don't use mirrors either when they're learning their letters and sounds. So that's how we'll do it here, so that the child gets the clear idea that they are not to use multisensory. So after structured language is done, again, you'll have the same procedures to do in terms of assessments. It is very important when you give assessments in multisensory or structured that you do not provide any feedback whatsoever, other than to say, oh, you're doing great. You don't do any correction during assessment. The only time you do correction is in a lesson, and then again, you always make a mark showing that you have done a repetition. And we will cover follow-up in class together. It's very important when you're ready to go that you make sure you have checked your surroundings and picked up everything because we have only made a limited number of materials. And we can always make more, but it could delay a presentation. So just make sure that you are always putting your materials back, and you will always have 2 spelling charts and the letters you need. So please make sure that you do pick up everything and check your surroundings. And once you are done, you can stop the recording. And it's important, which I failed to say earlier, that you write the track that you're recording on in your lesson, and there is a place for that. And we will cover that together. Thank you.